Hi, I'm James West. This is Midas Letter Money, coming to you live from the Market One Media Interview Zone at the Canadian Investment Conference in Vancouver, British Columbia. My guest today is Jim MacKenzie. He's the CEO and president of Viscount Mining Corp., which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol BML. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be here.
Jim, I saw a recent press release. You've just acquired or signed an LOI on a new project in Colorado, and you've got a project in Nevada. Give us an overview of the opportunity for investors in Viscount Mining.
Well, thank you very much. Viscount Mining was formed in 2010 after I received information from a geologist that used to work with the group that owned the Sunshine Mine in Idaho.
The famous Sunshine Mine.
The famous Sunshine Mine. And there was a property in Nevada that was available that they looked at back in about 2008. And of course, things imploded there, so they didn't follow through. So I received the information and got it to a couple of my geos, and we became very enamored with the project and the opportunity that lay ahead. So we went down and started doing some further work on the property and going into reams of historical information. This area of Nevada, which is in Cherry Creek, was a very prolific producer of silver and gold up until the end of the 1920s. And they only stopped production because of the price of silver and the depression which came upon the world in the 1930s.
Sure.
In the 1940s, the U.S. government was mining on the property tungsten for the manufacture of munitions during the Second World War. And they mined for about 4 years on there. Very difficult to get information because it was top security for the U.S. government and not a lot of information available what was mined out of there, but it was a very prolific tungsten deposit as well.
Okay.
In the 1980s, a company called Goldera went in and did a feasibility study on a small portion of the property, but the price of silver at the time was $6 an ounce. It was only feasible at $9. So it really lay dormant until Sterling went down there in 2008 and did some preliminary work on the property, but didn't follow through because of the issues that happened with that company. So when we went down in 2010, we were very fortunate to acquire a piece of the Cherry Creek area. In all, there were 20 previously producing mines in the area. So what we did over the span of the next year is we were able to take all those previously producing mines. They were owned by numerous different families who were actually the Hatfields and McCoys in that area.
Okay.
And we were able to take all that area and put it under the Viscount umbrella. So it was very key for me at that time to start to put together a strong management and board. At the same time, we looked to go public, and we are led by a gentleman by the name of Corey Foy, who was the chairman of Great Panther Silver.
Sure, I know
and
Corey.
Took it from a startup to a producer. Very fortunate to have Corey join our board. And we rounded it out with a very strong team of security lawyer, money managers, geologists, senior geos who had been with Yamana and Kinross and done quite a bit of work in Nevada. So
Okay, so what's the game plan in the immediate term?
well, we have an opportunity right now. We have a very large private company that did roughly $48 billion in revenue last year that are looking at doing work on the Cherry Creek property this summer. We're just in the midst of putting together an agreement. They would like to do a 3-month program leading up to a multi-year program with a 70% earn-in on the property.
Oh, okay. So so they're going to drill it this year?
I don't know what they're going to do yet. Once we sign the agreement, I'm
Then you
more
can talk
comfortable
about it.
speaking
Sure.
about it. Right.
Okay, so then tell me about the Nevada project.
Well, that is the Nevada project.
okay.
Now, the project in Colorado is called Silver Cliff. Silver Cliff was explored, over 700 holes drilled in the 1980s.
Wow.
On the property. It was Cocaine Minerals, which was taken over by Hecla. And there was actually a pre-feasibility study done on the property. They were going to build a $35 million mill at Silver Cliff for the production of the silver. Again, there's some non-compliant numbers, silver numbers on the property. They're substantial. Hecla, again, because of the price of silver back in the early 90s, walked away from the property. The gentleman that we acquired it from has made 4 major discoveries in the western United States, and he came to us with the property. He knows one of our board members, who actually, he was the mentor for this board member when he graduated as a geologist. So we had the opportunity, which we've signed a letter of intent on, and we're doing due diligence for 90 days. In the meantime, we have signed a CA with a major New York Stock Exchange mining company that is interested in doing a joint venture on that property with us.
So with 700 holes, you must have some idea of a resource?
We have a very good idea of a resource, James.
Historical in nature?
It's a historical resource.
So can you tell us what that is?
Well,
caveated with the fact it's non-43-101 historical.
50 million ounces of silver. It also sits on a major gold trend where there was 25 million ounces of gold mined.
What kind of grades were we talking
The silver grades were around 10 to 15 ounces.
Well, that's impressive.
Of silver. Impressive, but when you go back to our Cherry Creek property, and the historical on there is anywhere up to 4,000 ounces a ton of silver. Our geos were sampling at the opening of the Exchequer mine, and they were pulling out 40 ounces a ton of silver out of there. Again, all historical, non-compliant. I want to make that very clear.
Absolutely. Okay, so then why should investors be considering your company right now? Why should they be interested?
Well, we currently have 20 million shares outstanding in the company, 70% owned by the officers and directors. We have an incredible group of investors that own the other 30% of the stock. We have significant people from Europe and Australia that are in the mining business that have joined the Viscount team. We're currently doing a financing at 20 cents. The stock is 19.29, last at 23. There's not a lot of stock out in the marketplace. I think once we start working on the Cherry Creek property this summer and announce who we're working with on that, and the group that we're working with on Silver Cliff, our plan is to go into Colorado and probably twin about 30% of the 700 holes that were drilled. That's what we're doing with the $2 million that we're raising.
Great.
And we will have hopefully a resource proved out on there by the end of the year.
So lots of news coming this year.
Lots of news coming out.
Okay, great. We're going to leave it there. Jim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
My guest today was Jim MacKenzie. Jim is the president and CEO of Viscount Mining Limited, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol VML. If you'd like to learn more about Viscount Mining, you can visit their website at viscountmining.com. If you'd like to learn more about companies like Viscount Mining, visit us at MidasLetter.com. My name's James West, and this has been another edition of Midas Letter Money, coming to you live from the Market One Media Interview Pavilion at the Canadian Investment Conference in Vancouver, British Columbia.